Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Chair Talks podcast. My name is Troy Appelt. I currently serve as the Chair of Staff Council, and today we're here to talk athletics. All right, so joining us on the podcast are two coaches from Saints Athletics. First up, we have Jason Kask, head coach of Nordic Skiing. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Troy.
Good to see you today.
Good to see you as well.
And then we also have Dave Reyelts, who is the head women's soccer coach. Good to see you, Dave.
Hey, Troy. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course. Well, it's the holiday time here at the time of recording. I can see a fresh coating of snow outside the window. There's rumors of holiday parties in the air. There's a cold air coming in midweek. And so things are really ramping up on the holiday front for those that partake. And so I thought just a fun question to warm things up a bit. I'm going to start with Jason. Do you have any favorite things that you like to consume during the holidays? Any particular food or beverage that you look forward to this time of year?
Yeah, I really enjoy consuming lefse this time of year. That's my favorite holiday tradition in my family, and I really enjoy avoiding the lutefisk that is put out.
I would need some primer because I would mistakenly ask for lutefisk. If we're looking for I would confuse lutefisk and lefse. So lefse is what? That's what?
It's like a potato tortilla.
Okay. And do
Yep.
you put anything on it?
Typically, my family often puts like butter and cinnamon sugar on it, so it's kind of like a sweet little treat. Some people do put make like a burrito with mashed potatoes and peas and lutefisk. I usually, like I said, avoid that option. Yeah, once you tasted the lutefisk, though, you wouldn't mix it up again.
Very good. Well, how about you, Dave? Any foods or beverages you look forward to this time of year?
Well, to talk off of Jason, growing up, we used to go to a meatball and lutefisk dinner all the time at my church, and they had lefse as a dessert option with some butter and cinnamon. But I agree with you, Jason. I avoid the lutefisk. I went straight for the meatballs and skipped the lutefisk as much as possible. My parents usually put a little on my plate when I was young to try to make me eat it. But once I got to past the point where they were putting stuff on my plate, I went straight to the meatballs. So completely understand your avoidance of the lutefisk. I'm a big turkey guy. It's funny, I don't eat turkey a lot outside of the holidays, but I do enjoy turkey and all the fixings that go with it during the holiday season, both at Thanksgiving and Christmas. So.
Fantastic. So maybe we can make a lefse turkey roll up or something like that, and
I need that.
a little cranberry sauce on
That would
there.
be good. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. Well, I'm going to start with you on this one, Dave. Tell us a little bit about your day-to-day job as a CSS coach. I'm sure from in season versus out season, it's very different. So maybe kind of walk us through your year and what you do day to day, but throughout the year.
Sure. Yeah, we it is very different when we're in season and out of season. In season is extremely, intense, and you're 7 days a week and long travel. Out of season, it's a little more flexible. Obviously still a lot of work to do, but it's more of a desk job when you're out of season, and everything but a desk job when you're in season. So, which I actually enjoy. It's kind of unique to experience both. We come in early. We come in about 2 weeks before school starts. We're really busy, 4 to 5 hours of soccer a day during that time. Once school starts, we're on the field 6 days a week, either playing games or practicing. Obviously the student athletes get a day off, deserve a day off, and get one. Usually I don't take a day off during the season. It's that a lot of times it's Sunday, and I'll use that Sunday, especially the afternoon and evening, to do some video work and prepare for the next week's games that we have coming up. At our level, and Jason, I'm sure would attest to this too, recruiting never stops. So even when you're in season, you're going to games, you're talking to student athletes, you're having players, prospective student athletes come to visit. So it's pretty intense. And then out of season, right now we're kind of in a dead period with our players. We gave them some time to regenerate, refocus their energy, plus focus on the main reason they're here, and that's to be students and make sure they do well in their finals. When we come back after break, we'll start to do some stuff again. We get on the field twice a week, so it'll be a mix then of a little bit of soccer and still recruiting. And I'll really start to dial in then when we come back in second semester on preparing for next season as well. Not just the soccer side of it, but the logistics side of it. Hotels, travel, meals, etc. Try to do as much of that as possible in the off season. So once we get into the season, we can really just zero in on the soccer part. And then obviously, like I said, recruiting's a year-round deal. So there's showcases and tournaments that we go to through the winter, spring, and into the summer. And then before you know it, you blink and you're back to August again. So that's kind of what my life entails. I'm sure Jason has different seasons, right? But some similarities. So
Very good. Yeah. So Jason, you're in season now. So what does your day-to-day look like when you're in season?
Yeah, so it's a similar flow, I would say, as Dave mentioned. And now that we're in season, we just got back from our first competition up in Calumet yesterday. Um, we, yeah, typically travel out Friday, arrive at a venue midday to afternoon, get our training session in, preview the course, start testing skis and wax to understand what's going to be needed the next day, and then prepare the skis usually in the evening or the morning of the race, depending on what we're going to see and how many skis we have and athletes competing that weekend. And then our season is unique compared to many in that we race Saturday, Sunday. And so there's 2 events each weekend for the most part. And so we then pack everything up and wax the skis and come home on Sunday after the second day of racing. And then my athletes take Monday off to get a day after that pretty intense weekend of travel, so they can catch up on schoolwork and prepare for the week ahead. And then we typically have strength training on Tuesday and Thursday mornings before class, and then practice Tuesday through Friday in the afternoon. And right now we're looking for snow. We're excited. There's more up here on campus than there is, down by the lake. And so also trying to figure out logistics of where we're going every day based on what workout we're trying to get in. And then, what the conditions are like, depending on where it has snow. Like right now, I'm sure Leicester doesn't have any snow. And we're going to Grand Avenue down at Spirit Mountain a lot, just because that man-made snow is really consistent for us and able to give us a really good product every day. The rest of the time for my day is filled with lots of recruiting. I just got off a Zoom call before this with an athlete. Emails, communicating with students, making sure they know what's going on for the week and have the training that they need going forward.
Nice. So I was a student athlete back in the day. I ran cross country, and so I know I had my pregame or my pre-meet routine, and it was fairly particular about the order of things and how I did it. And there's various superstitions and rally cries and habits that some athletes have, and you all have been around athletes for a long time, so you don't need to name any names, but maybe is there an example or two of some of the more interesting things you've seen from your athletes over the years? I'll start with you, Jason, on this one.
Yeah, that's a great question. Having been an athlete, there definitely were some things that had to happen in a certain order. I have an interesting perspective because I rarely see the athletes in their race mornings because we're already at the venue waxing. And so a lot of it, I don't know. Luckily, this past weekend, we were able to forego a lot of that because it was not as important of a race. And I learned that there's a specific playlist that has to be played on the way to the venue, and there's definitely some ritual around getting skis ready, and then a lot of the ritual for skiing has to do with like clothing preparation, so warming up and then changing some clothes and then putting on dry gloves, things like that, so that you're able to stand around for a couple of minutes before the start. We have one athlete that makes their own sports drink. The last batch was tomato flavor. Not sure if that was a good idea or a bad idea. I didn't feel the need to try it. So just there's definitely things like every sport. They've got their little pieces that they like to tinker with and make sure that they're played out in their own way.
DIY tomato sports drink. That's a new one.
Mm-hmm.
That's very interesting. If they decide to market it, they'll have the market all to themselves. So Dave, how about you? What are some of the interesting things you've seen over the years?
Sure, and I've had the opportunity to coach a number of different sports, so I think different sports have their unique, uh, regiment, pregame, routine. A lot of hockey players, they like to get their pregame nap in. I know that from the past, having coached hockey, they'll usually get a pregame nap and then maybe a walk after they wake up from their nap, and then it's usually they're a lot of they seem to be a lot of chicken and rice type guys. I don't It might be in part because that may be the only thing they know how to cook is chicken and rice, but I bet you if you asked our men's hockey team, probably half of them do some version of chicken and rice as their pregame every meal before games. So, but I know guys obviously my age that played and now coach hockey, and they still take their pregame naps before the hockey game that night. So it's kind of funny, but it seems to be, and maybe it happens in other sports. Obviously, soccer, it's tough to do because we play a lot of midday games, especially on campus with no lights. We're always playing during the day, so hard to sneak a nap in unless you do it in class, and hopefully they're not taking a nap in class. So, but I one thing our team, I'm sure there's lots of little individual quirks, and like Jason, a lot of times we're not with the players, prior to when we see them roll into the locker room, but our players, we have a changing room up by the field, and I know they really like to they've got a little pregame dance party routine they do, and they have a playlist and they play, and so I'm always I'm outside waiting to go in and talk to them, and the locker room is bumping like a nightclub before I walk in there. So always entertaining to over the years to listen to the different playlists that they have, and the music has definitely changed a lot from when I started 25 years ago. That's for sure. But I would say that's kind of a tradition slash routine that our girls have.
It's fantastic, and I agree. A playlist is very important for many things. I work very closely on a playlist for my holiday parties. I came up with a playlist for my wedding. It's a big deal, so I can appreciate that. So athletics is a large department here at the college, and in some ways you're both physically remote and kind of also doing somewhat different things just with your different schedules and things you've been talking about. And so I think sometimes for folks like myself, I'm over here in Tower Hall and working the 8:30 to 5 job and doing the student support. I'm less familiar with the work that you all do in athletics. I am familiar having been an athlete myself, but less familiar with exactly what you do on the day in and day out. So if you kind of zoom out to this idea of the athletics department, is there anything that you'd like the rest of the staff community to know about the athletics department? Are there any like misperceptions out there or areas where you think it'd be helpful for the rest of us to have some more context about what you all do? And I'm going to start with Dave on this one.
Yeah, you refer to, you're over in Tower and we're over here in the Wellness Center. It's since even when I was a student athlete and then now carrying on, it's one of the things that there's very little that I dislike about our college, and that's one of the things that I dislike. I feel like we're on an island in some ways over here, and years ago when we added the wellness center, when we got away from just the Rife gym and we added the workout facilities and the larger field house space for at least we were able to see more and more of the students that are non-athletes, and even some of the staff and faculty come over and work out, which is great. But I've always felt like there's a bit of a disconnect just because of the it shouldn't feel this way, but it feels like it's the Atlantic Ocean between Tower Hall and the Burns Wellness Center at times, and that's too bad because obviously there's a lot. I really like a lot of the people we work with here. There's tremendously unique people in our building, and I know a lot of the people over in Tower and Science, and there's tremendously exciting, intriguing, great personalities over there, many of which we don't have the opportunity to interact with on a regular basis, and so that's always created whether it's intentional, or it's not intentional, but whether it's fair or not fair, there's been a bit of a divide just because I feel like we're kind of two islands at times when it comes to collaborating on things. So that's one big thing. I think sometimes, again, I don't know all the inner workings. I don't know how much time faculty spends away from here working, if everything they do is in their office. But I think sometimes people not being aware that, our travel schedule and weekends and the amount of time, and that, even like I said, even on a Sunday when we're technically off, during the season as coaches, we're not off. We're go, go, go our weekends. And then, in the recruiting season, which is basically year round, a lot of our weekends are consumed by athletics. So there are times, where you might not see a coach in their office on a Monday morning, but they may have just been gone for the last 3 days recruiting at an event somewhere else or traveling. Like our softball coaches just got back from Dallas. They were at their convention, and they're here today. But the softball head coach, he said, "Well, I got in a little late today," and I was, "Well, it's understandable. You've just been working for 5 straight days, 3 of which were on the weekend." So I think sometimes there's that maybe misconception that if we're not in our office, we're not working, and the reality is, we do probably our best work not in our office.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How about you, Jason? Anything else that you think it'd be good for folks to know about athletics department or coaching, the things that you do?
Yeah, I think Dave hit a lot of it. I think I'm pretty new here as a coach, so I was an athlete here a while ago, and now coming back as a coach. I Yeah, I think all of us that I've talked to as coaches, like we definitely share the vision and mission of the college, and so we're definitely working to try and promote that and further that. And the way we do it is unique compared to many of our colleagues that are teaching or supporting students in a different way. But I guess, yeah, we're definitely over here trying to support our students in a variety of ways. One, through their athletics. We also want them to do really well in their classes. We want them to be an integral part of our community. And so I think it looks different how we make that happen, but we're here definitely trying to pull everybody in the same direction. Yeah, and I think it's unfortunate some of the ways that like our schedules don't allow us to interact as much as I think us coaches would like. So partly there's this, geographic divide, but there's also unique times that we have to do different things and we don't get to choose those all the time. Just like a class schedule, right? The faculty doesn't choose when all of those things happen. And so I think, yeah, if we could be, somehow figuring out ways to just be more connected would be really nice. And that's one thing I was really excited about with this podcast is an opportunity to do that when it works with everybody's schedule, because it can be recorded and shown later. So that's pretty nice.
Definitely, yeah. A lot of great insights, and I hope that people have the chance to listen to this because I did think it's really interesting context just to understand all the different ways that we do the mission here and work with students here. And sometimes, you only know what you know and you only see what you see, and oftentimes there's much more going on. And so that's a great opportunity that we all have to continue to learn. Love of learning, right? So I have one more question for you. We're going to circle back around to the holiday themes here. I'm going to start with you, Jason, on this one. Maybe you have a Christmas list this year, maybe you don't. I'll just say, if you had a Christmas list this year, what would be at the top of your list for 2024?
I want to break the snowiest record again. I think we're due after last year we need last year's snow and this year's snow. That's top of my list.
Fantastic. And Dave, how about you?
Well, I would have bet my life savings and anybody else's money I could get my hands on that what was going to come out of Jason's mouth was snow. I knew for a fact that he would wish for snow. I wish for happiness and opportunity for people to spend time with their family. I have 2 older boys that have been away since August. I've been able to travel and visit them each once, during that time. So, my wish is going to come true, hopefully, as long as Jason doesn't get all the snow and they can't get here. Hopefully it can wait until at least they get back. But, I'll be able to have all 3 of my boys under one roof, again here for a few days over the Christmas break. And that's the wish that I had. And, you want that to come true. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. And, the rest is just icing on the cake.
That's fantastic. We're in good company here. Those are the top 2 things on my Christmas list every year: time with family, snow. We're all in agreement on this. May these Christmas list items come true this year and get snow and time with family and all the other things that make this time of year great. Jason, thanks for spending some time with us during this busy time of year for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And Dave, thank you for sharing some time with us at this time of year.
My pleasure. I enjoyed chatting with both of you guys.
Fantastic. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Vivat, vivat, Saint Scholastica.